Good evening and welcome to Telling Tales. Here we tell atmospheric stories together through the medium of tabletop role-playing games. You are watching on a Monday night, which means you're catching us playing Shadows of Esteren. We are currently working our way through the prologue book. My light's shining on that. There we go. Isn't that nice? The poison adventure that's in there. And it's nearing its conclusion. So it's going to be very exciting. Below the stream are links to our social media, our Instagram and Twitter, our YouTube if you're watching this on Twitch, or Twitch if you're watching on YouTube, our Discord, so you can come and join that and chat to us about all things tabletop role-playing games and otherwise. And also our Patreon. So if you enjoy what we do, you can support us by exchanging money for goods and services, with things ranging from access to other bits of our Discord, so you get behind the scenes info or info ahead of time, that kind of thing, all the way up to Matt, who runs other games on the channel, running a game for you and your friends once a month, which is a great reward. Other things on the channel, on Wednesday nights, we have Simba Room, which is our longest running series. We have on Thursday a system spanning World of Darkness game, which has done 4 episodes of Vampire so far and will begin on Werewolf this week, I believe. And then also work through Changeling, Wraith, and Mage. All games taking place over the course of one night, which is very cool. And then also we run a different one-shot adventure on normally the first Saturday of every month. So far this year we've had Alien, Troika, Morkborg, Fiasco, The Expanse, Honey Heist, The One Ring, Dungeon World, Wander Home. Last month was Dune, and this month, as voted for on social media and in the Discord, is going to be a sequel to the Alien one-shot that we did earlier in the year. That is this weekend. I think it's on Sunday. Pretty sure it's this coming Sunday, the 5th of December. So if you haven't watched the first Alien one-shot yet, watch that and then join us this weekend for the sequel. Intros, recaps from last week. If we can have Sam on first, who plays Fionn, the Demorthan Mystic. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Tell us a bit about your discussion with Waylon at the beginning of the last session.
Yeah, so we just got back from rather a difficult journey. I think that was probably about how Fionn put it. We kind of wandered straight through the town, and I wanted to meet with Waylon, the Demorthan of the village, to kind of update her on what we found out. So I went straight in and told her that we'd had this fight with some mercenaries. I don't have any reason not to trust her. She's Demorthan, so I told her we ended up killing them, and that we found out a little bit more about the circumstances of the poisoning in the river. Namely, once we dispatched with the mercenaries this Magientist assistant, as it turned out. He's the assistant to Talassian, I think is his name, which is the head Magientist, who is apparently up at the mine. He told us all about the I know it is Nimheil, but I think it's Fossil
Flux.
Fossil Flux, yeah. Was kind of how he referred to it, which basically is somehow seeping from the earth and coming downriver from some kind of as yet unknown source. And he had a machine in the river that was apparently trying to remove it. So I explained all this to Waylon. She was like, "Oh yes, it's very helpful to learn that it's Nimheil. That might help with some of the treatment." But she didn't really manage to offer much more useful information as to how to stop it or prevent it. Only that it's kind of the antithesis to life, effectively, was, I think, how she described its effects, which is broadly how I understand it as well. Otherwise, I just informed her that some of our party were wounded, and she gave me kind of a concoction in a bottle to kind of help them hopefully heal overnight, with a small word of warning that it might not be a very pleasant night.
And meanwhile, the rest of the group headed back to the old Chestnut Inn. If Inga can come on, who plays Sophia the Varigol. Hey, Inga. So, yes, you met somebody who you'd been looking for.
We sure did, yeah. So as we were getting the injured parties up into bed, we saw there was a bit of a drunk guy slumped, and we hear, I've totally blanked on, Maltaria. We hear her refer to him as Octa. So obviously very interested in speaking to him, having been looking for him last time around and not finding him. So Sophia stays downstairs, or comes back downstairs to see if she can kind of chat to him, buys him a drink, and finds out that it's Octa, and he's basically been between home and the inn, being blind drunk most of the time in the last month since the event. And Sophia kind of chats to him a bit and learns that they did go up to the mines. Naylan had struck something that seemed to kind of spray this like orangey oil like substance, this flux stuff, like right at him, right over his face and stuff, which is why he was so like bad. It seems to be why he was so badly affected, and it hit him pretty hard, pretty quickly. And Octa wasn't affected because he wasn't kind of directly sprayed by anything. They came back, and he hasn't dared go back to the mine since, and doesn't really know kind of what to do about it. Sophia kind of took some stuff up for the injured guys upstairs, and then told Fionn about what happened when Fionn came back in, and Octa had stumbled off home. Sophia checked that he'd got in okay, but figured that we could go back and chat to him the next morning. And we agreed we'd maybe talk to him about potentially joining us in the mines, though it didn't seem like he would be all too willing, given he's avoided going back over the last month. He mentioned that they'd kind of found like a new section of the mine, which was where they'd found this vein or whatever that they've kind of released. They're hoping to kind of make a bit of cash for themselves outside of, because the mine was owned by the McClear family. So something that would be their own and be able to make a bit of their own kind of cash and be their own men and stuff. So it was all very well intentioned, but obviously went very wrong. But yeah, he didn't know the Magientists or anything like that. That does seem to have all happened since they made this discovery and then left and didn't return.
Yeah, great. So meanwhile, Ragnar and Fulgur had kind of gone to sleep to heal and been provided with the herb concoction by Fionn. So if Justin can come on, who plays Fulgur. Hi, Justin.
Hello.
Tell us a little about exactly what kind of not that great a night Waylon was describing.
Well, I think it was a dream that involved a feeling of discomfort, and then there was this strange shedded material on the floor of our rooms. The dream, of course, appeared very real. Then we looked out the window and saw this same shedded material all over the village, and we realised that it was the shedded, maybe of a skin of a snake or something like that. We weren't entirely sure. Then staring out the window, did we catch sight of a reflection that maybe was the snake itself? I forget. It was also hazy.
Yeah, filling the window, sort of the face of the snake, the giant snake.
What's the snake does? Terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely terrifying. So I woke up and just, in a bad way. At least all of these things, that's what I take the dream of Ragnar to have been. Fulgur, of course, maintains that he had a pleasant night.
Of course he does. Steve can come on. Hi, Steve. Take us through the next day once you'd awoken from this bad dream.
Yeah. So Ragnar and Fulgur are feeling somewhat better. Ragnar possibly more so than Fulgur, but Fulgur had been in quite a bad way initially. So
still technically in a bad way.
So Fulgur stays inside, stays in his room, sort of apparently contemplating religious texts. It's a holy day apparently.
It was an ecumenical matter.
Yeah, nothing to do with still being in immense pain, of course. So there's a bit of chat at breakfast about what to do. Sophia talks to Naelin's wife Adelaine to ask her to help persuade Oktar to travel with us back to the mine. Fionn checks on Naelin's condition, and it's not good. And yes, there is some, not bad times are around the corner in one way or another. I think it's not looking good for Naelin. But having spoken to Oktar, Sophia manages to coax him out of his house. We try to get Fulgur to come with us, but initially is somewhat reluctant to emerge. But when it's apparent that we're going to head off anyway, Fulgur appears. We go via Wayland's in the morning to tell her what we found about from Oktar, this fossil flux, this Nimhile substance. We also learn that the healing potion contains something that might promote dreams of prophecy. So, but it's probably nothing. Nothing to worry about.
Probably not.
Shared dreams of snakes. I'm sure it'll be fine. So yes, then we set off to the mill with some herbs and some food for them. And that's about where we left last week.
Great, thanks. So we'll fast forward to the morning. You've spent a night relaxing, basically, at the mill and getting a good night's sleep. So anyone who is injured, take that 2 hit point boost for a good night's sleep, and Fionn checking on your dressings.
Excellent.
I'm no longer injured. I am 100%.
You find that Gota's family are in a much better state than when you last saw them.
That's good.
Still not 100% better, but definitely improved from previous, because you told them to stop drinking the river water.
Yeah,
basically.
it seems like they've stepped without them.
Are we finding the same thing to be true in the town? Are things generally improving?
You think that when you set out, you probably noticed a few more people out and about. Some of them maybe still looked a little ill, but certainly a bit more of a sort of hum to the town than there was previously, when there was basically nobody out and about, because everybody was either bedridden or caring for somebody who was.
I think I asked Wayland about it the previous morning, and she basically just said kind of much the same. So I think it's maybe a bit better, if anything.
Yeah. So, how's everybody looking on? Which section of your health are you in? Sophia's fixed completely. Yeah.
I still have 4 points of damage, but I am now in the good bracket. So
no negative impact on any rolls.
No negative impacts.
I have 9 points, so a small nudge, and I'll be back in bad.
That's so much. That's still like half your health. That's still half your health.
A strong blow of the wind, and Fulgur is back in negative. Okay. So presumably you just head out again, pretty much first light, I guess. I presume you wanted to make the most of the day.
Sure.
Yeah. How's Oktar been traveling with us? Obviously, since he is with us, is he kind of reluctant? Is he?
No, he's not. He's not reluctant per se. He sort of swings between mildly intoxicated and mildly grouchy.
Great.
But he's still
continually.
He's quite slow moving. He's quite slow moving, certainly slower than you would like. But not, he's not a massive hindrance. It's just sort of maybe standard walking pace rather than a fast march, which you might otherwise be doing.
I imagine Fulgur is probably slightly glad that he's not the one making us walk at the speed he wants to walk at.
So, after a couple of hours, anybody paying attention to your surroundings, can you make me a natural environment roll?
Certainly.
That's a 1, so that's probably not going to be very good. 10 in total, because I have lots in it, but
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not bad.
that's my thing.
Would this be survival or tracking, or neither?
Survival might work.
Okay.
We'll
And
give
it's
you
nine.
the survival boost.
That's basically an extra 1 point, isn't it? Yeah.
For me, yeah, because I've got
I've just got one.
Is it a domain or a specialty?
Just get extra
Forget how-
dice.
A discipline.
Discipline. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 total for me then.
We're all just natural environment people.
19.
Okay. Ragnall notices after a little while that the flora surrounding the river is looking a little better as you've sort of reached a certain point. And since you rolled so well, what I will also give you is that you remember a little while ago passing another stream inlet coming into the river.
Okay.
So Ragnall may be led to believe that coming down that stream
That's
is
where.
the Nimhal.
Yeah.
That's not to say that you are being led astray by Oktar and being taken the wrong way, because the entrance to the mine may be different to where the stream is coming from. So even though you're going in a slightly different direction to where that stream's come from, you don't have any reason to believe that because there's this kind of looming
Sure.
rock face kind of in front of you. So it may be that that's coming, the water's going through there and coming out at a different point to where you would enter the mine. Just to clarify that, so that you don't think, we need to go that way.
The freshwater science of me is saying, a lot of it's probably coming through groundwater as well,
Can we rule out that the village is causing the illness? I mean, the further we get from the village, the more clean things seem to be.
Yes.
Oh, Folger.
I think you're onto something there.
Perhaps we should just go a very long way away. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying, I'm not sure Fulgur would wear a mask in a pandemic.
Wow.
Fulgur doesn't believe in this Nimhal stuff.
After about another hour
Okay.
of Oktar directing you on, unless anybody wants to suggest
I might. So I'll point this out to the group and say, is it worth? We should at least remember this point. If this is the only stream, this might be one that we can dam or barricade or something potentially.
Oktar, you know this area. Does this stream lead to the mine?
Or would there be other people living along here or taking water from this stream? Is it better to come up this way so that we can protect people?
Well, I mean, this mountainside here is where the mine is, and that stream might well come from somewhere within the mountainside. Yeah, I think that weaves around and comes out around the other side of the this mountain, so it could be linked to the mine.
Makes sense.
I don't think there's a way in around there, though.
Well, let's remember this location in case we need to come back here.
Water flows through many places our feet cannot tread. I'm not sure it will do us good to follow it up, but perhaps we can learn much from keeping an eye on these things.
Indeed.
Couple more miles up this way, and we get to the entrance that Nayland and I used.
I guess while we're walking as well, generally, rather than right now, I'll kind of ask Oktar, how big are these mines?
Quite big, not huge to get to where you would need to get to see where we were, but they go on for some way after that.
Deep underground?
I think so. Quite deep.
And Ragnar will probably be looking a little bit anxious at this point.
I think I probably shoot a glance at Ragnar when he says the quite deep part.
Yeah. You press on. The plant life continues to look quite lively and healthy around the edges of the river now, as you presume it past this inlet stream that you presume may be where the source is coming from. And after about an hour, Oktar kind of, if you continue walking at the same pace as him, he just kind of stops. So you might walk slightly ahead of him potentially, depending on whether he's in the lead or whether you're just counting on him to push you on.
Sure.
And he says, "It's just up there. Do you mind if I don't come in?"
We need you to help us navigate inside the mines. That's where we're least aware and comfortable.
If we stick together, we'll be safer here.
You know, last time I was there, it was.
We won't dig. We won't dig for something new. We won't expose any of this stuff again. We won't expose you to it. We just need you to show us safely through to where it was.
Can you make a relation roll, please?
Who?
Yeah,
Is this just
Sophia.
7.
Sophia?
I mean, Sophia was trying to
Yeah.
convince him.
Yeah, I did not build around being a talky character. 7 total.
I can draw you the way in the snow. Draw you a small map.
Do I not have a sheet of parchment somewhere in this bag?
Draw it with some soap on a bit of granite or something. I don't know.
Draw it with an arrow on your head. How about we do that, Ragnar?
God.
We're gonna have stupid ideas like wasting good soap.
Yeah, it's not really the directions we're worried about here, Okta. It's the mines and not wanting to go down some way that's going to cave in under us. I don't think a map in the snow is going to help us there.
What was the name of... Here we go, Adelaide. I think Fionn is annoyed at this suggestion and just says, Oktar, you remember your promise to Adelaide. It was not to lead us to the entrance of the mine. I know you're afraid, but the whole village needs this. Is your fear more important than the whole village? I'm sorry, but you have to do this.
What does Oktar want to do in the meantime? Are you going to just wait here, or are you going to go back?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, can't just stay outside.
That's what I'm asking. Oktar. I'm asking genuinely. I'm not I'm not trying to put any pressure on. I'm curious. I'm acting as if I'm just curious.
Well, I plan to just wait here.
Well, if we get into any trouble, we always know where to find him. Then won't we? There's no we won't ask you to come in unnecessarily, Oktar. If your map is good enough, then we will be able to find a way. If it's not good enough, we'll have to come back and get directions.
Fionn is frowning at you for having given him a way out from my non-way out.
The continental courage is coming with me. That's all I'm saying. And I
We
will
might-
hand the bottle my remaining bottle.
Yeah, Oktar, we might also need your knowledge of mining specifically. If we need to seal this source of poison off, that's not something we can do ourselves. We need your expertise and your knowledge for that.
Sam, can I have an easy relation roll from you, please? Aided by what everybody else has said, but also based on you
Sure.
bringing Adelaine into it. I
I'll use
think.
my 0 relations. And roll a 1. So I have 5 empathy, so that gives me a 7. Oh, wait, no, 6,
roll the d10 again.
Yeah, that would actually be quite good. Yeah,
I forgot to do that earlier.
no, I got a 10 on the second roll, of course.
He kind of kicks his foot in the snow for a minute, and he says, "I'll walk you through the entrance."
I think Fionn visibly angrily throws his hands in the air and marches off towards the entrance of the cave of the mine.
He starts following you.
Maybe mutters coward under my breath as well, quietly. I don't know if he heard or not.
Sophia will just make sure
Don't
that she's
care.
very definitely positioned behind him, and will sort of gesture for Ragnall and Fulgur to take up as much space behind him.
Yeah, happy to
That's
do
a
that.
great idea.
I'm ignoring this entire thing. I have no
The
interest
entrance
in
of the mine.
pressuring him.
Just
I'm like, if
just
he
leave it
doesn't-
there.
Like a guide, an unwilling guide is worse than worse than no guides in some situations.
It's just down that hole.
You first, then.
Have we been given some kind of map guide then?
He would. I think he probably
Yeah.
started sort of drawing. So you've got in your memory. It's not complex.
It's not
What
complex.
he's
It looks
trying
pretty
to do.
straightforward.
Yeah.
In such a map, then you know that's fine. Then this map seems pretty straightforward. Even I can find a route through it. And Fulgur wouldn't have Fulgur, you know, not Fulgur wouldn't. Oh goodness me, Oktar knows. I say it, but not talking to Oktar despite him being there. Oktar knows that a poor map will mean that he's sitting outside here in the cold for even longer. I'm sure the whole thing will be completely straightforward. Whoever heard about getting lost in a mine anyway?
I will look at Fionn again.
So you get to near. You see this opening, which looks like a natural cave opening. Yes, Sam.
Sorry, before we go in, I was just going to say, I will say to Oktar, if you stay here, at least shout into the cave if anyone else arrives. Others might be interested in this. And then I'll
Of course.
I'll mutter to Morag after he says that quietly and keep an eye on him.
So, yes, you get to this cave opening, which looks basically looks like a natural cave opening. And as you get there, you spot a couple of sets of footprints heading into and out of the mine, which you might presume are Naelan and Oktar's from when they were here previously, as there is also some within the footprints, within one set of footprints especially, there are sort of specks of what you presume to be Nimhile as they've been coming out of the mine. So Oktar kind of stops at the entrance. I don't know if Fionn's just pressing on inside or whether Fionn is waiting for him there.
I feel like Fionn, having said that, will probably just press on inside.
So this entrance, you can see, if you're kind of looking around, there are pickaxe prints in the wall and beams erected. So while this may have been originally a natural formation, it's sort of been dug out further and fortified by this mining team. There are tools and bags on the floor. And do you have lanterns, don't you? I think.
I do. Don't know about anybody else.
Very pricey lanterns, as I remember them. Pricey.
As much as soap.
More so.
Oh wait. We have one lantern then.
One is all we need.
What could go wrong?
Upon seeing you fumbling around looking for lanterns, Oktar opens his bag and hands one over.
Excellent.
Miner always carries a lantern. Yeah, down at the end there, there's a tunnel, a ladder down. Just watch out for the hole. Somebody fell in that once. New lad.
See? Invaluable. Thank you.
It's good. We'll see you soon, Doctor. Be here when we get back.
Of course, I'm not going anywhere.
I feel like Theon kind of somewhat brashly walks on ahead, having not been very happy with the circumstance, and then quite quickly realizes he doesn't like the idea of rushing on ahead, and kind of waits for people to catch up, and then doesn't really lead, just kind of maybe goes alongside someone else instead.
Yeah, who's leading? Because Ragnar won't be.
The blind leading the blind.
Well, I haven't a lantern.
Yeah, I might bring Fulgur up to the front with me for lanterning.
Might to be your lantern squire.
I can have the lantern if you like. You just have it.
How tall, how high are the ceilings in this place? Or low, I should say.
As you get into this area, it's sort of slightly wider than human size, so maybe, I don't know, sort of 4 feet wide and probably 6.5 feet tall as in a curve. So if you're in the center, you've got 6.5 feet. If you're slightly off to the side, you've got a bit less.
Is there any evidence of what they were actually mining when we were in here? Because we haven't actually found that out, have we? Was it iron? Is it like all ochreous? And
there's nothing that you can see here to tell you what it is.
Just stone. Really good stone up here, you know, that's why they tramp all this way.
So, yeah, whoever's at the front, you spot, because you're looking out for it, a hole. And
Sure about that.
Leaning against the wall, slightly ahead of the hole, is a ladder, which you presume is to be placed down this hole to climb down.
I imagine, unless it's like too narrow, I'm kind of like alongside Fulgur, like watching while you're shining the lantern.
I mean, the lantern kind of drifts off the path every now and then to examine things. Like, keep it on the path. I will happily move the ladder into place with any assistance if there's any provided by anyone. And does it rest happily on the bottom?
Yeah, it's obviously purposely made for this hole.
How deep is the hole?
Yeah, shine the lantern down here, Fulgur. Can we see the bottom?
Oil pours out the lantern.
Oh yeah, like
I don't think it's meant to
maybe
be angled down like that.
sort of 15 feet.
Okay.
Oh, not so deep.
Enough to fall down and break a leg there.
And presumably it's a normal ladder, it's okay. If the ladder looks fine, I think Theon will go down ladder first, after with Fulgur shining the light.
It looks to be a relatively sturdy wooden ladder. It doesn't look rotten or anything like that. If you're
I will carefully, while testing the ladder, go down then. And then, presumably, if I get to the bottom fine, I will shout up to everyone else. Seems okay.
I think we can handle the ladder. It's part of this adventure. I know it could be as dangerous as the bear, but
you reach a second cave here, a natural cave, you believe, quite small. There is a fissure leading through to what looks like another part. That's the only thing that you can see in here, so you presume that must be the way to go. And if you're remembering Fulger's image, you kind of drew a down and then an across. Mm-hmm. So everybody all heading through together. Are you sort of sticking together?
Don't see any reason not to.
Before
are we still following?
On,
are we still following those Nimhile tracks?
Talassian could be, could have. If I was Talassian, I would have tried to find the source of this Nimhile. Maybe we should be on watch to see if anyone could be up ahead.
That's a good point. Can we hear anything, Jonny? Presumably, if we're all quiet for a moment, you could hear pretty well if there's someone else in a cave. So
you don't hear anything that sounds like people or animals moving around. You get the occasional drip of, condensation falling or whatever, but yeah, nothing to suggest that there is anyone else down here.
And there haven't been tons of tracks, so it doesn't seem like loads of people have been in and out.
No.
Okay.
So if you go through this fissure and you get into a larger cave, anybody, can you make me craft rolls?
Craft.
Oh, craft.
In a cave.
0 points, 1 in creativity.
Wow.
12 total.
I got 16.
I got 5.
I have quite a lot of craft. That seemed fun.
12 is beyond the possibilities of my greatest imagination. I rolled 1.
Roll it again, then.
Wait, so your total is 2?
My total is 2.
But you didn't roll another 1, did you?
I rolled a 2 on the second roll.
Oh, I really want that to be one.
So close.
Okay, Sophia and Theon, you both, as you're kind of moving your way through this fissure and thinking back on where you've just come from, what you realise that maybe seems a little strange is the fact that they have clearly dug directly down as if they knew beforehand that they would find this cave. Like you've come in through what seems to be a natural cave, and then there is a hole dug in the floor to get you down to this other place.
That's not right.
I think I'll be looking around and maybe say something like, I wonder if there's another entrance, just like quietly to myself.
So, this larger cave that you enter is a natural cavern. The atmosphere in here is very different from the kind of half outside and half kind of stuffy air that you've been in. It's very humid, lots of stalactites diving towards the floor. And apart from the now greater amount of the sound of water droplets that you can hear, there's basically silence in this cavern.
If this is another cave, it will lead out somewhere.
Doesn't mean we can get out that way, though, does it?
No.
It also makes me wonder about the story that Oktar told us. He said that they happened across it, correct?
He said they went looking in a new section of the mine. He didn't really say anything about if they were looking somewhere specifically, other than that they wanted somewhere that wasn't covered by the McClears, that wasn't owned by the McClears part of the mine. The Magientist also didn't say anything.
Strange.
Did Nayland Adelaine, but she might not have known, of course.
Strange way to have come to this place. That's all.
Do we think that the section that we were told to go to is like the destination is near?
Yes, you don't think it's too far. Potentially even the next cavern that you were to enter from here.
Then if we wanted to sneak into this cavern to avoid, Fulger's a skeptical and suspicious person by nature, and given that they're already injured, they would like to be forewarned, as being forewarned is forearmed.
How many other exits are there in these caverns?
In this is a large cavern, so with lots of stalactites kind of coming down as well. So it's quite difficult for you to tell whether there might be little throughways from in here.
I think I want to pick a stone up and scratch on by the fissure that we entered via. I kind of want to mark my path back. Ragnall is looking distinctly unhappy.
Good plan.
Tense.
Theon, this stuff was meant to scare away the spirits. How connected do you normally feel to the spirits and to nature? Does something feel different? Does it feel off to you here?
My instincts say they aren't present here at all. I could try to listen harder if you like. I think I could make a roll for that, can't I, Jonny? But I kind of know what the answer's going to be if I do.
Yeah, make a roll.
Sigil ran?
Yeah.
Is it possible?
20.
Wow.
What information exactly are you looking for?
Ask for a lot of stuff.
First of all, I'm assuming specifically this place seems absent. The spirits seem absent here, because that's how we've kind of described this thing before. Can I detect any hint of spirits? And is it possible to detect where or why they might be fleeing? Where from?
Here specifically, you get sort of a small feeling from them, but sort of distant, I would say. And if you kind of reach out ahead of you in the direction that Oktar had sort of drawn out for you, it dims as you sort of reach your spiritual senses in that direction.
Okay.
So you're not sure on a reason, although you're obviously aware why you think. But yeah, does that answer the question? Yeah.
I think I will relay to Sophia. We're definitely close to the Nimhile here, but there are still some spirits lingering not far. They are reluctant to leave any of the land, but they've been forced out mostly. Up ahead, as Oktar directed us, I could feel their absence.
It's encouraging. You can still feel them tall.
Makes me gives me a trepidation for walking forwards, I must admit.
Well, at least it seems likely we're on the right track for finding this stuff.
I would also think that the Nimhile is not leaving through the way we came in. I suppose that's obvious, but
do we have a specific direction that we are supposed to be going in, or is it just explore this cave?
I think we have directions.
Yeah, you've got a vague direction of sort of further ahead, and then to the left a bit, off to the side is where. Yeah.
Then may I propose that anyone who wants to do a quick recce with me can try and stealth over.
I was going to say.
Yeah, you're doing. Yeah, if you want to make stealth rolls.
Fulgur, if you want to stay behind, if you're wanting to avoid any potential danger.
Well, he's actually stealthy.
I'll go on with you then, Fulgur.
I'll say Fionn is staying back and assessing the spirits for a moment longer.
I will be assessing the spirits with Fionn.
Ragnar's just eyes closed, just like.
So I rolled a 5, and I have a 6 bonus to that from my 2 in stealth and 4 in empathy. So I got 11.
I also got 11 on stealth.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so you so there is kind of almost a path through the center of the stalactites, but if you kind of weave your way around them a little bit to sort of get views of different areas off to the edges and things like that. As you are moving in this way, you stumble across a shed reptile skin in the shape of a 3-foot-long lizard. If either of you want to make either an erudition or natural environment roll.
They're the same value for me. Can I do both?
Is this Fulgur's role to not squeal?
Excellent.
I rolled a 10.
I got a 10 as well, and then my
Sorry.
second roll was a 1. Definitely not
So do I try to get my second roll in?
Hmm?
I got 10,
Yeah.
I got 10, and my second roll was a 7. Either way, my result is 15.
My
15
Okay.
natural.
18 with natural environment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, both of
Let's
you
say I
then
did, yeah.
you both recognize this species of reptile, which you know to be a cave dweller lizard. However, the standout points of this particular reptile skin are that normally this particular species is not as large as this.
Surprising.
And also, it usually doesn't molt.
Concerning. If it's molted, it's even bigger now.
I'm really pleased I've
And-
not seen that.
And Fulgur probably feels quite uncomfortable. I don't want to.
Just
I don't want to put words. I don't want to put words in his mouth. But
Sorry, I think you'll find that I had a prophetic vision that was divinely inspired that makes me feel like I know what this is all meant to happen.
okay, good.
Clearly, this
That's
dream
fine.
makes you feel better about these circumstances.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been given that dream by the one true God if, I wasn't supposed to know about it in
I mean,
advance.
generally speaking, prophecies aren't, oh, you're going to see a snake. It's, there's usually a little bit
Well,
more to it.
sorry, Ragnar. I think my prophecy was exactly that.
Okay.
I imagine like me and Ragnar are probably following on a little ways behind, but giving
Stop
them a
to
good amount
more
of
than
space.
explaining my proper.
If you don't have much of a sense for metaphor, then I think prophecies are exactly. You might see a snake. Oh look, a snake.
Yeah.
You might see a cave dwelling
Oh.
lizard. Oh look, a cave dwelling lizard.
Metaphor.
What could it possibly mean?
I mean, to be fair, the metaphor of prophecy is a bit beyond Fulgur at the best of times. So, either way, so cool snakeskin, putting that in the bag.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, that's
That's
great
what's
because then
gonna
I won't
happen.
see it. Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jonny. When you say it's quite big and it's bigger than normal, how big did you say it was? Sorry,
3 foot long.
3 foot. 3 foot. Okay.
3 foot when it last shedded.
You would expect that kind of creature to maybe be a foot long. But apart from its size, it perfectly matches the shape and yeah.
It looks like a snake.
everything.
Cool.
That lizard.
Lizard snake thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I will gesture to Fulgur like.
Should we go on a bit further? Should we just go on a little bit further? So with that, we're just going to go a bit further, a little bit further in.
You spot another fissure, which is where you are expecting vaguely in this area for the entrance to the cave to be that you have been sent to. You also spot kind of on the, if you were coming out of the fissure, on the wall that would be just behind you as you were coming out, an amber handprint.
Maybe they milk this material from the snake.
Maybe.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Don't touch it.
Oh, don't tell him not to touch it.
So the amber handprint.
Were you taking your
yes.
lantern with you, by the way, or were you going in the dark? Because I was wondering if you were in the pitch black or.
We probably would. Let's pray that we've got a hooded lantern of some kind.
Okay.
That allows
'Cause
us to have a narrow beam.
I was wondering if like we could see your light moving to know how far you are, but if you're using that, maybe.
I mean, I really don't know how much attention you're paying to this whole situation in general. When cutting back to the camp, are you just there like twiddling your thumbs, or are you listening intently?
I don't know. I feel like after you've gone for a moment, I'll be like, Ragnar, should we follow them?
I mean, I guess we should.
How much time do they need to just wait for a shout and go find out?
If it rhymes, it must be true.
At the point that they get to the fissure, they've probably been somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes, I think. So they're taking it steady.
Okay.
They've had the discovery of the reptile skin, and then continued pressing on.
We should definitely keep them in sight.
Yeah. So if we can see your light, then I think we would probably kind of definitely make a move to keep you in sight with you sneaking ahead.
I mean, the main thing is don't trigger a cutscene because then we're screwed.
Then you might appear in the cutscene. You know.
That's true. We're just there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so cutting back to the action, at the entrance to this next fissure, can we, if we're peering into it, can we see anything in particular? Can we even do perhaps a perception roll?
Yes, I'd love for you to do a perception roll.
Cool. I'll have my +2 from reason in perception to keep me going on that one.
I
Roll a
reversed
3.
my last one. I rolled a 1, and then to confirm, I ended up with a 10.
Cool. Roll a 3, total of 5.
Okay. What you can see is that there is some kind of weak sort of phosphorescent light coming from this room.
In which case, maybe I just maybe think about like completely shuttering the lantern and letting our eyes grow used to it.
Are you moving through the fissure, or are you waiting at the?
Can we see a natural, like within the room? Can we see a beyond another cave just beyond this, or?
Through the fissure is another cavern, yeah.
But beyond that, is there a clear exit to that cavern?
Oh, you can't tell from here. It's a relatively slim
now,
fissure.
If we get 2 caverns away from the rest of them, it'll be hard for them to hear us.
Let's bring them to this point.
I feel like when we see your lantern go out completely, I just exchange a look with Ragnar.
Yeah, I'll start gesturing to head back, and assuming Volga follows. Maybe slightly less like super stealthy, given we've not come across anyone just yet. Like, you know, not running back clanging and stuff. But yeah.
These reptiles that we know about, are they venomous?
You don't believe them to be venomous, no.
Big teeth, big claws. Angry.
Not when they're a foot long. when they're 3 times the size, maybe you would consider their teeth and claws big.
Mm-hmm. I think we can kill a lizard.
We probably catch up with you fairly quickly.
But I wouldn't. I would warn you all that there's a lizard probably in this cave, pretty big, but probably not too dangerous. But don't step on it. Look where you're going.
I think when you mention lizard, I'll look at Ragnar.
I think maybe that they use it somehow to create with the flux. It's a theory I'm working on.
Right. Assuming we've caught up with the others, then we'll kind of just explain what we've seen. Say, I think we can certainly go through at least another cavern. If we want to still be cautious, we can go ahead along to the next one. But I feel more comfortable probably knowing that you're not so far behind. There does seem to be light coming from the next one beyond, which maybe implies that that's where we might come across somebody. It does also feel like we're getting deeper in. Assuming, and does that feel right, Jonny? Like if we've kind of come in, down, and then kind of gone on further, we kind of kept going deeper, like away from the entrance.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you
natural light, it looks like there's some sort of artificial light. That
when you mention the light, Fion will say, "Is it a dull amber light?"
It's not an amber light. No, it's a sort of like a bluey green sort of phosphorescent.
Does the
Okay.
handprint glow in the dark?
It does not glow in the dark.
Right, cool.
In that case, I will say to you, not the Nimhal then.
Probably some thing.
You might
let's go
presume
on to
that
next
the
cave.
you might presume that the amber handprint is from Naylan when leaving, on his way out.
So, but the light doesn't seem to be Nimhal related. Handprint,
dull-
not the light. Yeah.
Like a dull bluey green thing sounds natural. Is that a natural environment roll, or should we just? Is that silly?
No, you could just it sounds like a natural sort of glowing light.
Cool.
Sorry, just for clarity, when you say natural, we don't mean like daylight or other kind of like natural light, like something.
Like a
magical,
like
occult,
bioluminescence.
unnatural. Like
it's like a bioluminescence. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Forgan knows one word.
Let's go then, I suppose. See what we find.
Sure.
Okay. So you enter another natural cavern, and you see when you get in here that the light is coming from some phosphorescent mushrooms that are growing on the floor and the walls and the ceiling. And you could cut your lanterns in here and still be able to see once your eyes had adjusted.
Let's do that. You can always then use the lanterns to blind someone.
You can hear the flow of a stream from in here. And as you work your way slightly further into the room, you also spot a small crack in the wall from which the Nimhal is pouring and making its way into this stream.
Does the mushrooms, do they look affected by it in this place?
You're not sure whether they would be having this effect if it weren't for the Nimhal. You can't really say either way. They don't look sort of withered and weary like other things did, but also they're a fungus and not a plant, so it's slightly, you're not sure whether it would affect them differently.
They're still life, but they feed on death, so maybe.
So on the floor, there are a bunch of tools, a wheelbarrow, and some bags. And the Nimhal kind of slithers out of this crack in the wall along the ground, and into this little stream which passes and disappears into the sort of rock face. So from kind of looking around the room, you piece together, as well as with what Oktar had told you, you kind of piece together a series of events. So, you kind of get them digging the rock, and then the Nimhal spurts out. They leaving the handprint on the wall. Do you want to examine where the Nimhal is coming out from?
Yeah, that's like the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure everyone else stays clear of it at first as well while I'm examining it, just to start with. But I'm not touching
Okay.
it.
Fog's gonna keep watch.
Theon notices that a kind of crystalline pocket has formed around this crack. And the crack is now, you can tell, where it's coming out from is smaller than it was originally. So some of it is kind of sealed over by itself. Can you make either a Magientist or an Erudition roll?
Well, we know what that one's going to be. Oh, a 10. Oh, good. Roll again. Oh, okay. That's 15, though.
Okay. Some kind of spotted crystallization of the Nimhal has occurred, and eventually, probably not too long from now, considering the relatively short amount of time it's been since this happened, it's going to seal itself over and obstruct the flow of the Nimhal.
Okay.
And what Theon kind of discerns from this as well, in a, maybe he kind of laughs internally upon realizing this sort of bastardization, I suppose, is that this is kind of like a mineral analogy to a closing wound.
Yeah, it's healing itself. That was my first thought.
Yeah.
I think Theon will actively mutter under my breath, it's healing the wound. Do I have any idea what's causing that, given that it is a crystalline mineral? I mean, I don't know much about minerals, so I don't know whether I would think it was the air or just it's actively magically healing itself or something else.
There's too much unknown for you here, I think, for you to be able to make a guess at that. Maybe, Theon might think that if it is so, sometimes when things seem like a direct opposite, they're sometimes quite similar, and maybe it's sort of, as you would expect something living to do that, it's kind of doing that in its own. I
think that's exactly the justification that Theon's going to think is going on here. So I think Theon will actively then say a moment later, will say, it's healing the wound. The Nimhal itself is gradually stopping the flow here. You see, it's crystallizing. Eventually it will stop, perhaps weeks or a few months, but this will stop.
Not if someone comes in and smashes it again.
No.
Or is actively looking for it, like those Magientists.
Is there a way
How did they know how to come here?
Perhaps, question we were asking ourselves before, Ragnar, yes.
Perhaps
how do they know how to hit in this wall?
Could you bandage this crack with cloth? Slow the flow? See if it...
I don't think any substance we have like that would hold it back. Perhaps burying it in rock could do something, I suppose, but it would be very dangerous in here. I don't know if that will work.
Can we perhaps block the stream here instead, so that it?
It's going to get out somewhere, Ragnar. If the flow comes from here.
But if we can block the stream long enough for the wound to heal, then perhaps.
I imagine it would flow out somewhere else within a matter of hours if we tried to block it here, though, wouldn't it?
But if we can stop the flow, then whatever comes out will it be diluted? I don't know. Perhaps we can remove it more safe, remove it for a while.
What rate is it flowing? Is it gallons and gallons of the stuff?
It's a trickle out now. You imagine it was kind of relatively pouring when it first happened, and now it's sort of an area like that it's coming out of, so it's basically a trickle down the wall and then along the ground and into the stream.
I think, as you point out, the other people could come and dig it again if they wanted it, like this Magientist. The most important thing to do is to bury it completely and make sure no one ever tries to come find it again, I think. How we do that, though, I'm not sure.
We could leave that to the lady, and her miners. It's her mine.
This isn't her mine, though, is it? Unless it's simply that because the miners were going to use this as a to stake their own claim here, weren't they?
It was an unexplored part of the mine. I wouldn't want to finagle too much on the legal technicalities here and whether they were exactly right in their assumptions on what. I don't know, but it's certainly the McClears seem to have some sort of power and resources at hand. They may be able to do something to help prevent, especially if the Magientists are here at the leisure or the on the recommendation or with the with the McClears' approval of some description. If they can put some restrictions around that, that might be helpful. I think Fulk was right. I think we should at least let them know. I'm not
very
sure.
reluctant to let anyone else have responsibility for it, though.
Well, unless you're going to guard it for your entire life, Theon.
Yeah.
The wound will close soon. Perhaps it won't be that long.
But whether it closes or not, people will come back here unless there is some sort of warning or protection. We can let Wayland know, make sure the De Morthans are aware and can help hold the McClears responsible if they ever seem to waver on their responsibility. But I think we should let people know. I don't think we should leave this. It's great that it's healing itself, but people should be told.
I think the danger now is Talassian, because he's Hervan said that Talassian was desperate to find the source.
Yes, I wonder where he is, if this is the source.
It seems strange if he's been looking for it and hasn't managed to follow it directly here. Where are they?
I suppose he didn't know the way into the mine.
But even so, if he's followed the river, if they know it's in the rivers, they had that construction filtering the waters or something. They obviously know it's connected. How hard could it have been to follow the rivers and find something here?
Jonny, if we look downstream, where does it look like this kind of cave stream flows to?
As you look, you hear
Cutscene.
ignorant peasants.
Fantastic.
You should have stayed in your village. What you see before you is fossil flux, the end of years of laborious research in your backwater valley. You couldn't imagine the extent of such a discovery. As you look up onto this raised portion, you see this man that you presume is Talassian, and he has hold by the shoulder of Oktar, who is gagged. And he grins and says, "You know too much. Your pathetic lives end here."
Can I shoot
And
him?
then from behind him, you spot there are a couple of mercenaries, similar to the ones that you met with previously. And then Hervan appears and looks very confused and panicked, kind of runs in and says, Master Talassian, you are not in your right mind. The fossil flux has poisoned you. You are a good man. He kind of gets down on one knee and is pleading with him. You are the one who taught me that Magient's one and only purpose is to serve the well-being of mankind. You cannot... Talassian, kill him.
Yep, shoot.
Definitely going to try and shoot
Whip bow
Talassian
out.
before he has a chance to run away.
Okay, let's do initiative. So, what are your combat? I always forget the word. Things.
Position, stances? Is it
Yeah,
stance?
we choose our stats for attitudes.
Fighting
Attitude.
attitudes, yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Sorry, so Jonny, in terms of positioning, like are all of the scary bad guys up on the platform at the moment? And in
Yes.
what way do they appear armed? Like, is it swords, bows? Does there seem to be immediate danger close at hand?
They seem to have close combat weapons rather than ranged. There is a way up and down, kind of slightly off screen of that image, sort of quite tall. They're not steps, but you could use them to get up and down from that platform that they're on. so you can get into combat range of them, and they equally will be able to get in combat range of you. So there are 3 mercenaries and Talassian and Herven and Oktar. So what are your speeds?
I'm going to go quick, so 8.
Same.
I'm going to go, I think, offensive on this one for the first round at least, and speed is 9.
Okay.
I will go normal, which puts me at 5.
Okay. Steve Ragnar will go first.
All right. Well, I'm going to be shooting an arrow at Talassian, I think, immediately.
Yep.
Yeah. Second guessing for a moment, but no, I'll definitely stick with that. So this is going to be shooting and throwing.
It seems logical too, because I mean the mercenaries are hired by Talassian, right? Logically, you hope so anyway. So if he's dead, then
Are they killing the apprentice?
that's what he said. Yeah. I think.
Talassian's told them to kill Herven, yes.
Jesus Christ, Herven.
The Talassian. Jesus Christ, Talassian.
I mean, equally Herven. Should have seen this coming.
Right, okay. So I rolled a 7 plus my attack of 12 gives 19.
Sounds good. He's dead.
If you
that's-
end up dead at this, I'll be
Oh
throwing.
come on! Yes,
You're like,
That's really good.
straight between the eyes. Yes, that'll be such a good way to end that speech.
Dead.
Just kill him in a split
dead.
second later.
Roll my dice.
So hang on, 19. So yes, that definitely hits and does damage. So
Good.
what's the weapon damage on that as well? Is it 2?
The bow is 2, yes.
Yeah, so you're going to do him 9 points of damage.
Asshole.
Wonderful.
Pretty nice. Yeah, so because he's got Oktar sort of in front of him, you've got a narrow area that you can aim for. So you might have, you think if he was stood on his own, you probably could have got a better shot on him and done more damage. But you do manage to get him. Sort of, he's got this hand on Oktar, so you manage to get him in this shoulder, and you figure you've probably got some pretty nasty section there. And he kind of jolts around as you hit him, and lets go of Oktar, and Oktar slips forwards and falls forwards off the raised platform and hits the floor.
That's not
and
what...
and doesn't move.
That was the cruelest circumstance from that shot, Johnny.
What have you done, Ragnar?
And Talassian is next, and he goes foolish, and then turns and walks over to Herven. He seems completely sort of nonchalant. He's not. There's obviously combat going on around him, but he just sort of strolls over to where Herven is and goes to strike him.
Come on, Herven.
Does he have a weapon?
Yep. He does.
Right.
He pulls out a short sword.
Wow. That's just not playing by the rules.
Hope he fumbles.
He didn't.
Poor Herven.
19. Cool.
Talk about bad bosses, eh?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he slashes at Herven, and anybody who can sort of sees Herven take quite a slice across the abdomen, but it doesn't look like it's gone too deep. It wasn't a particularly good attack as attacks go. He's probably not a trained fighter in the way that a lot of you are, even as hunters, and he. Next up is Fulgur and Theon. I'm happy for you to go whichever order you want.
Theon, go for it.
Sure. Okay. I guess I'm shooting makes sense. Let's see if I can hit without my bonus from
yeah, actually-
offensive.
Are you going for Talassian or a mercenary?
My speed is
since-
probably my speed's probably lower because I've got my -1 from being bad, not being okay.
Oh yeah, it will be one lower, won't it?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Thalassian. He seemed like the greatest threat in this circumstance, especially since he didn't even seem phased by that shot. That makes me want to shoot him even more. So yeah, I will try and shoot Thalassian.
Yep.
Maybe is he standing near the edge of the platform?
He's moved slightly further away from the edge of the platform to
okay,
sort of
doesn't matter.
strike at Herven.
Okay. Oh, that's not going to do it. I think that is. Wait. 7.
That is not going to do, I'm afraid. Goes whistling past and kind of clatters off the wall.
Yeah.
So, Fulgur.
Do I think that the mercenaries will kind of close with us this round, or will there be another round?
You think that they... Yeah, unless you were to move back, they would almost certainly be able to sort of jump down, probably even
This round.
to get to you. Yeah.
But I can't melee attack them right now.
You could move up and melee attack them, although then you may end up with all 3 of them fighting you because you would be blocking them coming down here.
It's a very knightly thing to do.
I agree.
Fulgur's going to die, isn't he?
How much health?
I
would
do
you
it.
Oh,
That's
no.
what I do.
Not enough is my guess. Oh my god.
But last time I was
Fulgur.
called out by not having my longsword at hand, and I won't do this. I won't have the same mistake this time. So yeah,
Okay.
and
Swing at one.
I'm going to somehow manage to scale the whole distance. I roll 9, which goes knocked down to 8, and then I add my 9 from that. So 9 plus 8 is 17.
17?
Yeah.
That is enough to hit them, yeah, absolutely. And then what is your weapon damage?
3.
So 20.
Eat it.
Cool. Yeah, you sort of parries a couple of times, and then you manage to get a good slash across. And if you had to guess in real life at how many more hits this person could take, you would say probably 1 slightly weaker than that.
Cool.
That's very specific.
Yeah. He's wearing quite sort of thin, like leather armor. So you basically go completely through that and take quite a big gash across his midsection. However, now it's the turn of the 3 mercenaries who are all where you are. One of them is actually at Herven. He'd kind of got there before Thalassian got there. So he is going to... yes, hit Herven for quite a lot. Okay.
Mental note: don't be a Magientist apprentice. Just bad life choice.
Yeah. We just don't mess with the Magientists in general.
Yeah, so this... After Thalassian's done his kind of swipe across, this mercenary steps up and kind of... He's holding a short sword and he kind of throws it up and flicks it, catches the hilt and drives it down into Herven's shoulder. And Herven lets out a as this sword kind of pushes the air out of him. And one is going to attack Fulgur.
Cool.
That is 19.
It's got negatives from being hurt, maybe?
This one doesn't.
Damn it. I'm trying to help you, Fulgur.
How
There's
narrow
two.
are these?
Are you sure he didn't just trip over and hurt his knee on the way in or something? You know?
It's 19. Yeah.
And then 2 damage on that, so it's 21 minus whatever your defense is how many damage you and your
21.
armor soak.
Oh my god.
Cool.
So probably down to like critical again then.
And
Just
the
defense.
other one
Cool.
does 16 beat your
Oh, they are.
defense.
Jeez.
Oh, well, that only is 2 points, which is enough to kill me. But like, we'll just take those 2 points off.
No. Does 16 hit your defense? Is that-
Yeah,
Yeah. And then that takes you down
The
I've
agony.
circled agony.
to agony. Okay.
I
So we
haven't
haven't
read
done
how
this
the-
yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I'll explain it. So
It's fine.
agony is once you get down to basically 0 hit points, the character collapses. So Fulgur, you see, drop to the ground. And if
Right, so
nobody
stab me.
intervenes within 10 minutes,
Plenty of time.
he will die.
Cool.
And if you roll a 17 or more on first aid or medicine, that will save the character, who regains consciousness 1d10 hours later and then unticks agony.
Nice.
So Fulgur has basically taken a stab to a fairly
stabs.
vital organ from this second, and collapses to the ground.
Is Fion the only one who can do first aid or medicine?
Don't worry.
Anyone can,
There's can and
one
can.
was it?
but should they?
I mean, it could be multiple things. First aid, I think, can be erudition or do more than misses.
Yeah, it's a 14 or more on science, to more than mysteries, or
Oh,
natural
science.
environment is
Sorry.
basically a first aid roll, but you'd need a 17 on it to
Or natural environment.
fix the agony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd have some chance of that if you.
Right. So I'm
Don't
just
worry,
looking at
Fion-
it and thinking, is 17 even possible for me? I think possibly not. But
Don't worry, Fion is 100% not putting himself at the front until he's probably the last person. So.
I mean, that won't be long.
Yeah, no, I don't think it will be either.
Do you want to talk about survival points?
Yeah, I'm just going to look into that myself.
Yeah.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
I think there's a. Yeah.
So you can spend to remake a failed roll, ignore pain, or get back on one's feet, which clears the agony box but costs 2 survival points. And I think you have 3.
It's true.
Sounds like a good time to use them.
Well, let's see if it's time to use them. Either way, it's. Does it get me any like would it bring me back to fighting Fettel?
You would clear the agony box, so you would be on all of your hit points apart from the agony box.
It's
basically.
essentially last gasp, I guess.
Yeah.
Should still
You
be
could
the
use it to
-3.
stop yourself from being passed out and move to the back of the party, I suppose.
Not gonna. That
Would
wouldn't
be
happen.
Fulgur is 100% going to use it to try and hit again.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and I'm going to do that.
Okay, great. Okay,
I'm going to die. I might as well die having fun.
back round the. Oh no, sorry, Inga. Sophia's attack or action.
yeah. So, how many are over Fulgur at the moment? Is it 2 or is it 3? The
2.
third one hasn't come back.
2 over Fulgur and 1 and Talassian are over Herven, who is in a very bad way also.
I'm gonna go run up to try and smack Talassian
Cool.
Okay.
with my iron walking stick.
Go. Do that.
Right. 11. It's not very good. I'm not very fighty, really.
Because he took a quick stance, that is just enough to hit him. So,
Amazing.
have you got a weapon damage written down for that?
Yeah, it's just 2.
Okay. So that's going to do him 2 damage. So yeah, he and kind of then turns to face you with a a very angry glare in his eye.
Yay.
And
Is he
then
now
what
bad?
happens?
Oh.
Then what happens?
The snake comes and says,
Oh, then what happens is that Sophia probably sees this better than anyone from where she is. Herven goes to you see sort of some resolve appear in him, and his hands go onto the mercenary's hands that are holding the sword hilt, and you see him sort of going as the sword comes out of his shoulder, and he goes, and you see it turning towards the mercenary, and he's pushing it up towards the mercenary, and then the mercenary stamps on his shoulder, regains control of the sword, and stabs it down into his neck.
nice.
Oh. I thought for a moment there that Herven had the strength of the hermit.
No,
but
does
no.
not. No, he's dead.
Talassian. Fighting attitudes. Is anybody changing?
So what's this?
Offensive?
Can they
I
get
think
down
the
the stairs yet? Is the
Yes,
question. They
they
can
can.
get down
None
the
of them
stairs to
have.
us, right?
Yeah, Fulgur kind of rushed.
They could have got down the stairs all along.
Oh, they could have jumped, couldn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I figure Fulgur kind of dropped back against the wall, and they maybe started moving as if to move on, and he kind of pushed himself back upright
Gotcha.
again. And yeah.
Remind me that if you pick speed, sorry, that takes off your potential from defense. Is it defense?
Yeah.
And
Defense.
Defense.
No,
Just
just
defense.
defense.
And if you do the offensive, it adds onto your attack and removes from your defense.
Mhm.
And defensive adds onto your defense and removes from your attack.
Your attack, yeah. I'm going to go defensive, I think. I'm
Okay.
I
So
really
what's that
want
put your
to.
speed to, Steve?
Still 9.
Okay.
I really want to hit something. My only chance of doing that is being an offensive. But that's.
Well, you could get
a really
behind me, I
bad
guess,
idea.
if you're ranged.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean, I'm
ranged
also
as
going
well,
to be
but-
moving as far away as possible
Yeah.
in this cave.
I'm gonna try for speed. So that puts me at 8.
And my speed is
Okay.
6.
Okay. Justin, are you staying at 7?
I think offensive because
There's no...
I can't. I have very little ability to change.
I would stay at
my
speed
scores
because they
anyway.
might go before you.
I've got such a penalty to it. There's not a chance that I'm going anything but
Oh
last.
god. Okay.
Because
So
I've
you're
got-
just
I've got
going
minus-
to get smushed.
Does the penalty affect your
Yeah,
attributes as well as... Right, okay.
Yeah. So Fulgur's going to get back up just to be murdered by them. That's terrible.
If that's what happens, then that's what happens. You know.
Okay. Maybe they all miss. It's okay.
No, I don't see that happening. And also, I can take 1 hit, so there's no point going defensive because it's
you're
not going to
done
make a
anyway, yeah.
difference.
Let him be brave and noble and stupid.
I'm sorry.
I mean, hello, it is Fulgur.
Okay, so first in the order is Steve.
Right. So there are...
Ragnar.
So there are 2 mercenaries. Have they passed Fulgur now?
Fulgur's still up. He never went down.
They're
Well, yeah,
kind
but-
of, I think they're probably kind of alongside him in terms of towards the downward area.
Okay.
So you could get to them, basically, if that's what you were thinking.
Oh, I'm
or
still
take a shot at
ranged.
them or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll take a shot at the one that Fulgur hit.
Okay, great.
So that is... Oh, God. 10. 8 plus 2.
That does hit.
Okay.
And then it will just take off your weapon damage,
2 damage.
which is 2. Okay. Yeah, you hit him, but in a relatively well padded area. So you've hurt him, but not drastically.
I'd
Unfortunately.
kind of like to, if we can move as well, I'd kind of like to back off a bit just to try and maintain a bit of distance?
Yeah, you can do that.
Is there any cover in this cave? Anything to like there were wheelbarrows and things to.
Yeah, there are some stalactites stalagmites in here as well that you could sort of half edge yourself behind if that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I think that's probably wise.
Yeah, fine. Next up, Talassian, who is going to.
I was really
swing
hoping
at
to be able
Inga.
to sneak in before Talassian went. With speed's just not.
Well, you're actually at the same time, so
Flip a coin. Flip a coin.
Surely player goes
That's all right.
Talassian, that is 17. That's going to hit you, isn't it?
Oh,
Sure does.
Jonny, can you not
so
lie about the way
including-
he rolls?
I rolled a 9. Do you want to know what I rolled for Herven? 2
Oh.
ones.
Oh,
Nice. That
This
is.
is going so well.
That
so,
man never managed to save his own life anyway.
So it's 19, including the weapon damage. So minus your defense and any armor, that's how many hit points you take damage.
So you said 19.
19.
Yeah, so that's going to be 9 for me.
Yeah.
It's not forgiving combat.
No,
It's
No.
not.
I just wish
It
it
never
was.
seems to be unforgiving for the enemies.
I was going to say, I wish it was less forgiving for them. That's the hard part.
Do I get to try and smack him back now?
You do, yes, absolutely.
We'll try to smack him back now.
have you got a
One as
-1
well, yeah.
penalty? For, are you in?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I'm now in. I'm now in -1 penalty time.
You're okay.
Still okay.
You're okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You're okay.
Oh,
Are you
dear.
okay?
We are so doomed. Dice hate us in this combat. Oh, I love it.
I can see why other.
It's not going to do anything, is it?
Oh dear.
I'm not really much of a
Oh,
fan.
hang on. Survival points
I'm
rerolls.
guessing-
Didn't you say something about rerolls?
Yeah, you can use a survival point to re-roll a failed roll.
That's
Oh,
me
failed
with
roll.
that's me with a 6.
I mean, I would say
I
this
can't
is
roll
a
much
failed
higher
roll.
than that.
Yeah. You, amidst the sort of clatter and clamor of the combat, you hear a noise from down the sort of hallway cave that Talassian and the mercenaries came from. So Sophia is probably actually the only one who would be able to see down there from their current position, and Talassian. And actually, as Sophia kind of slashes at Talassian with the stick, and he kind of moves out of the way and steps kind of round to the side of you, and then you see his face go as he looks down this corridor, which you hear a noise coming from.
Excellent. I've stuck some movement, right? Can I back away?
From him towards the hallway.
Well, if I'm backing, I'm going back more the way that I came from. So also away from the hallway.
Kind
Back
of.
towards the cavern.
Yeah,
Or-
so the hallway's there, and you're sort of there, and the step areas are there. So you'd be sort of going that way, but you're also kind of still semi-moving towards the hallway. Yeah.
Well, Talassian's the immediate danger, so yeah, I'll be I'll start moving away, maybe slightly warily, but yeah, I'll make a start.
You feel a rush of wind past you, and then see a blur as a 3-foot-long lizard comes flying out of the cave corridor and charges into Talassian with its mouth wide open, very long jaw that grabs hold of him and kind of tumbles off the edge of this raised area. So Ragnall and Theon see this just come clattering off the edge as Talassian lets out a kind of gurgling scream as he is kind of thrust into the ground by these gigantic jaws. And you hear something snap as he lands.
Excellent.
The prophecy.
You think there is at least one more thing coming from down that corridor, Sophia.
Can I just
next
out?
up,
I think something else is coming.
Yep. Next up is Fulgur.
Oh,
Can you move?
I'm fine. What are these mercenaries up to?
They are sort of you've redrawn their attention. They'd kind of written you off for a second, and
That was a mistake on their part. Are you
and
sure
one
it's
of
me
them has
next?
taken an arrow in the shoulder.
You sure
Yes.
it's me next? I have like speed 4. All right.
Then no, it's the mercenaries next. However, what I'm going to say is that you maybe haven't got up yet. If they are
Sure. Again, underestimating me.
They're probably kind of beginning to continue on past you, and then they hear this commotion behind them, and one of them turns to the other and says, "Do you think that's those?" And one of them says, "The Magientist's gone." And they hear this kind of rumbling coming down the stone corridor, and begin to make some kind of attempt at an exit. The one, however, that had attacked Herven has not noticed properly what's going on here, and he pulls his sword back out of Herven's neck and sees his companions running off, and sees Fulgur kind of slouched against the wall, notices Talassian isn't there, hears this rumbling from the hallway and kind of braces himself. I think he's realized that he's probably not going to have a chance to get away. And this lizard comes out of the corridor and runs at him, and he attacks it with his sword. He kind of plunges his sword into its front as it comes charging at him, and actually does quite a lot of damage.
Let's have a lizard.
These mercenaries.
Yeah.
They're pretty
Yeah.
powerful mercenaries.
They're really good, yeah.
He did a pretty large amount of damage to this thing. You see him sort of drive his sword in and pull it back out, and there's a spurt of blood as he does so. And this thing kind of writhes a little and then settles itself back on him. So Theon is next.
So, a picture of what's happened then. So, Talassian's been munched. We think he's dead at the bottom of the kind of ledge.
He's been crunched.
The two lizard... Yeah, crunched in some form. The two lizard things came from the top of ledge entrance where Talassian and that lot came.
Yeah.
The other two mercenaries ran away, have gone out the entrance we came in from, or dashing that way at least.
Yes.
Correct?
It's a good question. So they are heading towards...
They seem to be, yes.
Okay. I probably can't tell. There seems to be more of the lizards coming.
What about Oktar? Still motionless?
Yeah, Oktar's not moved, I assume. I'm kind of getting a feel of what's going on here.
He hasn't moved.
Yeah.
How is the lizard really preoccupied with Talassian, or what's?
It seems to be munching.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm not bothered by that one. That one can do what it wants.
Oktar is relatively nearby, like probably within about 10 feet.
I mean, given the circumstances, yeah, I don't want to shoot the lizards, really. I don't really want to shoot that mercenary either. So I think I'm going to go to Oktar.
Yeah, you're in a situation with Oktar whereby he's fallen sort of 10 feet. So...
If it doesn't look like Fulgur is dying right now...
Oh, I'm fine.
Given that he's getting up, and there is obviously no, like, danger this second to dashing to Oktar, like the lizard might jump on me in a split second or something, then I'll go to Oktar. And do a medicine roll, I suppose, to see if I can stabilize him, or if he needs it. I'm assuming he does.
A quick assessment reveals that he is breathing.
Okay, good. Then he does need medicine.
Yeah. So yeah, if you want to make a roll.
Oh, that's not a very good roll.
I'm glad I didn't need to, I didn't wait for that survival roll.
Don't fumble. Don't fumble.
No, I didn't fumble. I got 14, which is
That's the precise amount you need.
Excellent.
Yeah, so he starts to sort of stir a little. He's not in a state to carry himself at this moment. It may be that if you were planning on fleeing now, he may sort of come around as you're leaving and be able to carry his own weight, at least to some degree, by the time you're exiting.
Yeah, I guess that was the best intention of the circumstance, yeah.
But yes, he is definitely alive and is beginning to come around.
Cool. And I'm also keeping a very close eye out to make sure nothing leaps on me while I'm doing this.
Yeah, this thing is still pretty preoccupied with Talassian, and you imagine that the other one will either run away or want its revenge on this mercenary that's attacked it.
Cool.
So Fulgur.
I think we could just leave. I think, job's done. Start nonchalantly wandering down those stairs.
You've changed.
Point to the exit.
Whistling all the whole time.
Yeah, it's just his lung, I think.
Could be.
Yeah, the mercenaries are out ahead of you now. They've left this cavern through the fissure. The two of them. The other one is obviously still left in a kind of stalemate with this lizard at the top.
Well, Fulgur, if you want a shoulder to lean on.
Oh, I'm fine.
So
that's ladder's going to be.
I take it we're all.
They came in through a different entrance to us. So. Yeah.
Was it back the lizard path though?
Yeah, it was where the lizards came. The lizardy entrance, and the mercenaries mentioned them again, implying more lizardy things.
That dream, there were a lot of lizard skins.
Strangely, had taken no damage before this fight from that lizard encounter, and so we're in fine fettle to carve me up.
There were actually like 17 mercenaries before this point.
could have been. Good point.
Yeah, let's get out of here if we can.
Okay. So you make your way out back through the stalactited room, the large room, and then the smaller room, then the slightly larger room, and up the ladder. By which point Oktar is, he's got his arm around your shoulder, but he is conscious now and able to move himself along to some degree, and get up the ladder with some degree of sort of shoving and hands up at the top and stuff, which I imagine Fulgur may protest at receiving similar treatment, but may require it potentially.
Not protesting too hard.
By the way, it seems like, I mean, obviously the mercenaries will be ahead of us. Does it seem like anything or anyone tries to follow us as we leave?
No.
Nothing.
No, you think actually, as I said when you went in, the fissure that led into that section was quite slim. You have to kind of get through sideways, so you think that they would probably struggle to come out this way.
Handy.
Plus, one of them's eating, and the other one might be eating soon, or it will be dead. So, quite preoccupied.
Part of me is just really hoping that that one mercenary doesn't kill both of them and then decide to do something with the Nimhail. That would be very unfortunate.
What's he going to do?
I mean,
Scoop
he
it off his
doesn't-
helmet?
You can't imagine he has any reason to.
Yeah, I think he'd just leave. But you never know. These mercenary types.
So-
He'd probably end up dead, just like all of the other people touched it.
You get out of the mine, back into the sunshine. It is early afternoon, so you could make it back to the mill by nightfall and then head back to the village tomorrow if that's what you wanted to.
I will immediately make us all like stop, assuming it seems safe, and like address people's wounds and things properly in the light, like I couldn't do in the cave.
Yes, I think you could first aid. I think it's near enough to first aid.
Yeah, I figured then it was more just like looking at people and getting them up. Now I can actually do proper stuff. So that's everyone but Ragnar, right?
Yeah, I'm fine this time.
I guess I'll just make one roll.
Ragnar.
Who wants the first roll?
I think I just gotta maybe just put aside my.
I'll go.
I think you would see to Fulgur first.
I've just been watching him bleed all the way up the ladder and all the way out of the cave as we go.
just pumping. It's just pumping out.
Yeah, I'll go to Fulgur first. Let's.
Nice climbing up the ladder after Fulgur.
I rolled
Oh,
shit.
Yeah, I mean, you could do
roll another one.
Don't let another one.
Yes,
I did
come on.
Not roll
Come
another
on.
one. No,
Come
you're all
on.
good. That
Kill
is still,
me.
that's
Kill me, Fion.
still at 12 in total.
You didn't roll a second one.
Not enough for a first
Yeah,
aid
yeah.
roll, unfortunately.
That
I
would have been
still-
so funny. That would have
still
been
give you
so
some
funny.
I still give you
I
some
love it. You're like,
painkiller
kill
herbs.
me, I can take it.
I mean, if I survived the whole thing, I need to be killed by Fion's ineptitudes. It would have been so good.
Oh god.
Oh, dear me.
I give you some painkiller herbs. That's it.
Cool.
Um,
So I don't recover any points or anything.
no, you don't.
Oh well, never mind.
Sophia, I do not roll a 1. That is a 16.
Yeah, cool. So Sophia gets a hit point back.
And I'll do the same for Oktar, but I don't suppose there's a point in rolling that, unless you want me to.
Yeah. No,
You might
that's fine.
accidentally kill Oktar.
Yeah, I guess I would roll it a 1.
Like
It's not a 1. There you go.
You look at
Okay.
Fulgur's wounds and just go like, no, not much to do. It just this is.
So after some seriously pained travel, you make it back to the mill. Gota and his family look upon you with very concerned eyes, Fulgur and Oktar especially. You hear some muted discussion as to whether Oktar was one of the people that they had seen stumbling along on that evening. Perhaps seeing him stumble in this time brought back memories of that. So you
On the way, has Okta been like lucid enough to talk? As we can get through the mill, like before we get.
probably not massively. He's essentially on 1 hit point and having to travel relatively quickly, so he's probably not got that much in him in the way of discussion. The Miller's family feed you and water you. I think you delivered some food there actually from Wayland, so they're relatively well stocked to provide you with food and drink. And you can each get 2 hit points back for your overnight stay.
Lovely.
And dressing, etc. And the next morning, presumably, you just head out and head back to the village. You arrive back mid-afternoon.
Well, do we want to stop by the Clears or go straight into the village?
I would
'Cause
go
the Clears
straight.
is a bit out of town, right?
I would go straight to Wayland, regardless of what like other folks want to do, but not everyone has to come with me.
You'd go through the village to get to the McClears anyway.
Ah, sorry, I thought it was the other way around. Cool.
From this side, you would. From the way that you came at the chapel thing, you kind of pass under the viaduct where the MacLear Castle is, but this way you've gone out the other way. So when you arrive back in Melwan, you discover a gathering close to the village square. Lots of concerned and shocked faces, upset faces. Kind of circled around a central thing.
Is it near the well or something? Or?
That's it near
No, they're not at the well. It's kind of in a large open area, kind of in the middle of the village.
Guess go see what's going on.
As you sort of push your way through the crowd and you get to the kind of clearing in the center, you see Adelaine crouched over the body of Naylan, which is pierced with arrows. Quite a lot of arrows.
What happened? I will kind of generally ask.
A villager that you are stood next to says, he went into a killing frenzy. He really injured a load of people before he was taken down, and it was awful. And you look as Adelaine kind of stands up, you get a good view of his face. And since he died, his eyes have been left open. And his pupils have taken on a silvery metal-like shade, and their shapes have changed and are now hauntingly reminiscent of a reptile's eyes. And Ragnall and Folger, they are the eyes that you saw looking in at you through the window in your dream. And that is the end of this arc.
We didn't fix it, did we?
Pretty good, actually.
Lots of difficult questions about what the hell he's been up to.
Pretty good, actually. I think, big success.
We didn't fix anything, did we?
Well,
No.
I guess one problem solved. There's just a bigger problem that's not solved.
yeah.
I mean, I suppose you could say if
Day
we
one,
hadn't been here,
we had
everything
to
would have been
do
exactly the same. But at least it wouldn't have been worse.
More
At least it wouldn't have
herbs
been worse.
and one dead bear.
And we
saved
killed two
life.
mercenaries.
After the first episode, then yeah. I'm not sure we really helped much. But that first one.
But we're not dead.
True.
Cool.
Not just not dead.
If anyone has any questions or comments, put them in the chat and we can put them up on screen and discuss them. There are 2 more arcs in this tasty book. I haven't tasted it. Don't taste it. But it's a nice book. However, we won't be kicking those off until the new year. And for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to wrangle some people to do some kind of spooky game set on a space station. I've yet to write it, but I've been wanting to do something spooky and set on a space station for a while. It's going to be modern day, so think of your ISS kind of deal, and something spooky will happen. So that's what will be on Mondays for the next couple of weeks while people do Christmas things and other things. And then we'll kick this off, date TBC, in the new year again for the second arc. But yeah, I've enjoyed running this. I hope you've enjoyed playing.
Yeah.
Combat
I think
is
we get-
It's so brutal.
yeah.
I'm really glad Theon just avoided it all the time.
I really,
He didn't take a
I
single point
really
of damage the whole campaign because he's like, nah.
I do think that creativity is surprisingly important
Yeah.
for combat, which I think is odd. You know, that's my thoughts on that one.
It allows you to boost your stats, doesn't it? Like with your fighting
Yeah.
thingies. But yeah, I mean, the mercenaries are just pretty
Brutal. Especially with that
guess-
extra 40%
Terrifying.
damage you gave them.
I guess one question is,
And they still lucky. That's the real downside of it.
Yeah, they're 11 attack, 10 defense, 7 speed, 2 potential, 2 weapon damage, and 19 hit points.
Ooh,
So they're pretty beefy.
that's way tougher than me.
I think that's just exactly my character. Each one of them is exactly the same as me.
You're the most like fighty of all of us.
Not really. I think that's everyone has 19 hit points. That's just standard.
Yeah. Well, I have 18
And
because I've got a negative.
That's fair. And then
you
like-
had 3 armor though, didn't you?
I do have 3 armor.
That's
Well,
true, yeah,
and
they don't have armor.
I actually I have 4 armor because I have my shield as well.
Okay.
And even with 4 armor,
Wow.
I'm still getting carved up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we sort of leapt into combat a couple of times. Well, the first leaping was a little bit slow, but were there alternatives? Are there ways of approaching that without getting minced? Were those lizards ex machina? Were they always kind of on the cards?
Apart from the bear, you could have got away without any of the combats. Technically speaking. I mean, I'm running the game. I could do whatever I want. But even as written, you can get away without those combats.
Are you sure if Ragnar didn't bang on that
seems-
door harder, we could have avoided the bear too? Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, with Talassian,
He seems pretty stabby.
if you succeed in a difficult relation roll, and it says here, role play and pronounce your speech for what you're saying to him well enough, as well as making the roll, then he would have been caught in an inner conflict between his personal convictions and the malevolent influence of the Nimhile.
Yeah,
And,
we were too mad at him by then, weren't we?
It would have to be a damn good speech and a quick one to fit in just after the words
To
"kill
stop him from killing Herban. Yeah.
A lot of monologuing.
Yeah, was there a
And
way to do that without Herban dying while we're stopping to try and...
Yeah, he's just stabbing the
Just
crap
kill
out of Herban while we're monologuing.
Doesn't really specify, but you know.
I'm listening to your point. I'll consider it.
Yeah, just kill him does sound quite final and decisive and immediate, you know.
Just 1 second before you kill him, have you considered these arguments against killing him?
We're not really a
I'd love to see
negotiating
Fulgur
group.
give that speech.
I've got to admit, having the written ending be that the situation is going to resolve itself and you shouldn't bother turning up in the first place is a bit of an odd choice.
Well, I don't know. Like, there's definitely still stuff that is like uncovered. Like, I mean, fine, it's healing itself, but people are definitely still coming for it,
Yeah.
and there are still people suffering from it. Like, we don't have a cure for it. So
And we have
there's
no idea
definitely
what these lizards are. Are they?
Yeah,
Maybe they're
it's-
part of the problem. Maybe they're even making it worse.
Are
You
people
know?
I told you they're
turning into
involved.
the
Fulgo
lizard?
was right. Hashtag Fulgo was right.
If you had the eyes of the lizard, are the people turning into them, and that's why they're bigger? Because they're
Mhm.
like, I don't
Oh,
know.
100% all of those lizards are people that were turned into lizards.
Like, is part 2 like us dealing with like a village full of lizard people? Is that what we're about to go into?
I'm hoping part
Who
2
the
is
next
us
year?
staying inside and reading
For at
religious
least a
texts.
few weeks.
I'm loving the
Part
subtle
2.
the subtle idea of the naming there. We can have the first one was poison, and the second one is just called "A Village Full of Lizard People." Is the title for the second campaign.
But it's
So I
actually
was-
just a series of scriptures.
Yeah.
I was curious about whether I was like maybe maybe the whole flux thing that makes people turn into zombies, and then this whole thing is a prelude to a zombie thing. I mean, I was like,
Zombie lizards. We have had a couple of.
Jonny's just furiously writing down the zombie lizards.
We've had a couple of.
I need a dictaphone. Yeah.
We can always listen to these back again.
And so can you, dear watchers at home, on our YouTube channel.
I'm just going to pop this up. So yeah, a couple of questions.
It is published by Studio Agate, who are a French company. So these games were originally. This is the actual core rule book. The games were originally published in French, and then I think a year or 2 years after that, they were put into English language. But they're lovely books, and all of the artwork is just—it's all really nice and very thematic, and I think we said on something else, but it's really nice that the way that the rule book is written. A lot of it is written in a way of sort of being accounts of people who live in the world as well, so it really kind of gets that theming across.
It's really awesome and thematic. I really enjoyed reading through all the lore stuff, and it's huge. I didn't read like a lot of it, but it's like
I haven't read a lot of it. I've played it a bunch of times, and there are still sections that I've never touched because it's almost all lore in the book.
So much lore. There must be like 300 pages of lore or something in that book.
Yeah, a lot to draw from, which is nice.
Yeah. And another question was.
Ooh. Well, here's the thing. I was and. I purchased the version 0 or whatever this is called with the theory that I would use it for that. And then I looked at it, and actually a lot of the skill, like I would have to custom quite a lot to make it just work for a modern day thing. So I think I'm probably going to use the Call of Cthulhu modern character sheets, I think, for this game. And just kind of put a focus on making sure that people put stuff in science skills, because that's probably what they would have. And, have some people have different science skills from each other and have that be where the kind of differentiation comes in. I think that makes more sense than changing a load of stuff in this to make it. Because this is kind of a setting as well, isn't it? The Mothership book is sort of, and it's got all the weapons and the alien races and stuff. I don't need any of that. So
yeah, sure.
I'd love to run Mothership at some point in future as its own thing, maybe. But I think for this game, that needs to be, because we've only just kind of realised that we need something to fill the gap before Christmas. Using a system that I already know means I can just write a story and not have to worry about learning new rules stuff as well. So
we were chatting about this, weren't we, Jonny? We were chatting about this, like the imperative to have a story in your head. You're like, I've got this really good story, or maybe this system would be great for it. And you're like, I'll chuck away all of this on how to customize the mechanics too. Wait, am I using this system?
But yeah, that's one thing that's been weird about running Shadows of Esteren, is that I got so used to doing the Call of Cthulhu stuff and writing my own story that trying to make sure that I keep to the main beats of something that's pre-written is kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But
this is just
Event Horizon.
I love
Horizon. I love it. Yeah, it's great. Really, really good film. I'd like to watch it again. I've not watched it for a while.
I'm kind of curious, Jonny, if it was something that you'd written, or like you weren't working off a story, are there things that we did or kind of suggested along the way that you'd have maybe taken down a different path if you had the freedom to just do something, just do whatever, or made up something new if you could?
My answer is probably. I can't remember, but there were so many things that happened in Call of Cthulhu that were because of things that the characters did. Like even Mary Brown being in the third arc. Like I hadn't planned for her to be a recurring character.
So it's our fault that we.
Wow.
And the whole thing about the it was because of the conversation that she had with Inga's character, where Inga's character said maybe you should consider running for office, and I was like, maybe she should.
Perfect.
Oh my
We have
god.
we have too much agency over these worlds. It's terrifying the power we wield.
But
Excellent.
yeah. So yeah.
Oh, Johnny.
So hopefully,
You promised me Ogham. Where's my Ogham? One of the symbols. I haven't learned any Ogham, you meanie.
but before the next thing though, we'll do character advancement.
Yay! Maybe I can get some. I could
Yeah.
say I found some on the road. That's cool. That's like
Character
the more than
advancement.
magic for people who don't know.
Yeah, we'll do some character advancement, and I don't think that the next arc begins straight away, so we'll have some filler stuff as well.
Cool.
Cool.
I'm always a magic nerd.
Hopefully, you've all enjoyed the first arc of this, and hopefully those of you viewing will come back next week for Spooky Space Stations. If I write something in time, I've been thinking, I've got all these things, and I'm like, what's the
God.
end point? What's the end goal of this story? So, yeah. Cool. Thanks, everybody. Catch you next week. Please come back on Wednesday and watch Simba Room, and on Thursday and watch Werewolf, but also watch 4 episodes of Vampire before that. And on Sunday at 3 p.m. for the Alien one-shot, but also watch the other Alien one-shot before that. So that's nice. You've got about 14 hours of viewing to do before Sunday.
Go for it.
Yeah, and catch you next week, hopefully. Bye-bye.